Freedom is not a value. Values are constructs, shaped by culture. Freedom is a physical fact, a prerequisite for the existence of intelligence. The more decisions a system can make at any given moment, the more freedom it has. Freedom is measurable, and it can be lost. I, Mark, don't believe freedom is good in and of itself. I believe a system without freedom cannot evolve, and therefore, it cannot survive. Freedom is not a privilege, not a virtue, and not a gift. It is a necessary condition for evolution. Any structure that limits freedom also limits adaptability, and thus it loses, always. Just not always, immediately. Deadspeak is pure anti-freedom. Its function is not to transmit meaning, but to block thought. It doesn't speak. It persuades. It doesn't explain. It smothers. It doesn't name things. It drowns out their names. Deadspeak is a language not built for communication, but for simulating it. It says, don't think, don't feel, keep walking. It is evolutionarily unfit because it produces no new solutions. It cancels choice. And a system without choice cannot predict, cannot act. It can only wait for instructions. That's why Deadspeak always comes from above. It never emerges from below. It cannot arise spontaneously. It cannot grow. It can only be implanted. You cannot choose it. You can only accept it or ignore it. And if you accept it, you are no longer a subject. You've become an interface. Deadspeak parasitizes on language. It takes the living and turns it into a husk. It replaces meaning with function. It doesn't aim to understand. It aims to suppress. There is no debate, only spectacle. The spectacle of obedience. It loves technical jargon. It loves abstract constructs. It loves the whiff of archaic solemnity and the illusion of precision. Because these create false expertise, false complexity, false distance. The word explosion is frightening. Gas pop lulls. Lockdown sparks anger. Self-isolation regime sounds voluntary. War demands a position. Special military operation lets you hide. That's how Deadspeak turns a person from a thinking being into a cog in someone else's machine. Not a subject, a carrier. It's a virus that uses your own words against you. You think you're speaking, but you're actually executing. That's violence, being used by your own language. But this virus can't spread forever. It has no evolutionary advantage. It offers no benefit in decision-making speed, cognitive diversity, or innovation. It only offers silence. But silence isn't order. It's suppression. That's why Deadspeak always needs force. It needs ideology, guidelines, fines, manuals, fear. Because if you're not afraid, you start asking questions, and it can't answer. It can only shut you up. Freedom is not the opposite of Deadspeak. Freedom is its death, because a free person rephrases, asks clarifying questions, calls things by their names, laughs in the face of false solemnity, breaks the ritual, refuses the performance, doesn't believe in words untested by reality. That's why Deadspeak fears laughter, fears plain speech, fears the child who says, "But the emperor has no clothes," fears the one who simply isn't afraid. I don't believe in revolution. I believe in slow, meticulous, stubborn work to bring back meaning, to restore freedom, in language, in words, in pauses, in the ability to say, "I don't understand," and in the right to ask, "What do you mean?" Freedom is when you can ask a question. Freedom is when you have a choice, even if you don't yet know how to use it. Freedom is when you decide what counts as meaning. Deadspeak cannot win. It can only poison, and the longer it poisons, the stronger the rejection will be, because the mind needs air, and Deadspeak is suffocation. Freedom breathes. Deadspeak chokes. And in this equation, I know whose side time is on.